The next section of this presentation will discuss the results from the Fall 2013 assessment of the General Education program. This slide provides an overview of the two-step process as applied to the Historical Perspectives, GHP, Literature, GLT, and Social and Behavioral Sciences, GSB, categories in Fall 2013. In the sample, 13 GHP sections were selected. 9, or 70%, participated. All 9 submitted student work products. 13 GLT sections were selected. 11, or 85%, participated. 10 of these submitted student work products, and 1 used multiple choice questions to assess the GLT student learning outcomes. 27 GSB sections were selected. 20, or 74%, participated. 15 of these submitted student work products, and 5 used multiple choice questions to assess the GSB student learning outcomes. This slide provides the results for GHP Student Learning Outcome 1. Course instructors rated 84% of student work as proficient or above. Peer reviewers rated 56% of sampled student work the same. Course instructors rated 16% of student work as non-proficient. Peer reviewers rated 34% of sampled student work the same, and 10% as unrated. This slide presents results for GHP Student Learning Outcome 2. Course instructors rated 84% of student work as proficient or above. Peer reviewers rated 62% of sampled student work the same. Course instructors rated 16% of student work as non-proficient. Peer reviewers rated 30% of sampled student work the same, and 8% as unrated. For GLT Student Learning Outcome 1, course instructors rated 87% of student work as proficient or above. Peer reviewers rated 79% of sampled student work the same. Course instructors rated 13% of student work as non-proficient. Peer reviewers rated 21% of sampled student work the same, and 0% as unrated. For GLT Student Learning Outcome 2, course instructors rated 88% of student work as proficient or above, and peer reviewers rated 60% of sampled student work the same. Course instructors rated 12% of student work as non-proficient. Peer reviewers rated 40% of sampled student work the same, and 0% as unrated. For GLT Student Learning Outcome 3, course instructors rated 84% of student work as proficient or above. Peer reviewers rated 57% of sampled student work the same. Course instructors rated 16% of student work as non-proficient. Peer reviewers rated 43% of sampled student work the same, and 0% as unrated. For GLT Student Learning Outcome 4, course instructors rated 84% of student work as proficient or above. Peer reviewers rated 35% of sampled student work the same. Course instructors rated 16% of student work as non-proficient. Peer reviewers rated 63% of sampled student work the same, and 2% as unrated. For GSB Student Learning Outcome 1, course instructors rated 76% of student work as proficient or above, and peer reviewers rated 81% of sampled student work the same. Course instructors rated 24% of student work as non-proficient. Peer reviewers rated 12% of sampled student work the same, and 7% as unrated. For GSB Student Learning Outcome 2, course instructors rated 78% of student work as proficient or above. Peer reviewers rated 57% of sampled student work the same. Course instructors rated 22% of student work as non-proficient. Peer reviewers rated 32% of sampled student work the same, and 11% as unrated. This slide presents some of the comments that course faculty shared on the online survey. They include: small sample sizes are inadequate for judging the effectiveness of the GnEd program. Allowing course instructors to define the proficiency level may generate results that are not compatible. Proficiency levels were determined based on grades. To improve student learning, quote, hire more faculty and offer more courses in smaller sections, quote, and, quote, I favor a GnEd council that includes dedicated faculty and rotating faculty fellows to maintain a relevant, effective set of GnEd requirements, courses, and assessment processes, unquote. At the end of the workshop, faculty are asked about the current GnEd program assessment process. The first question is whether we should continue to have instructors evaluate their own students' work. In essence, workshop faculty, many of whom also participated in Part 1 of the process, responded in the affirmative, stating that their participation in this process will affect how they teach GnEd courses in the future. Some commented that their participation made the goals of the GnEd program much clearer to them, that it demonstrated the value of explicitly discussing the student learning outcomes, and that it helped them realize the importance of selecting assignments that meet the student learning outcomes. Others commented that the process itself was relatively smooth and clear, and that it helped them understand that the value of the data collected was highly dependent on the quality of the assignment prompt. This slide includes comments, suggestions from the workshop peer reviewers in regard to faculty training for the GnEd program assessment process. Former GnEd program assessment participants should be present at faculty training sessions to share what they learned from their participation in the process and to help with assignment selection for the assessment process. Talk about assignment selection. More guidance was needed in the creation of prompts assignments that align with the category-specific student learning outcomes. Assignments should clearly and explicitly reference the student learning outcomes. Use assignments from middle to the end of the semester. Timing of when faculty training should take place: 1 week before classes begin and second week of classes, and request faculty bring syllabus with list of assignments. The second question presented to workshop participants was whether we should continue to have teams of external raters evaluate students' work. The majority of workshop faculty agreed that peer review was valuable. Many workshop faculty indicated that the student learning outcomes were still problematic to major specific. Workshop participants were also asked what should be our next steps. Responses included: regarding communication, peer review feedback should be provided to course faculty. Currently it is not provided. Within departments, previous GnEd program assessment participants should be a resource for their department, and meetings should be held to present results from the assessment process. Category-specific student learning outcomes are still a problem, too major specific. Now it is your turn to provide feedback to the General Education Council in response to this presentation. Below is a link to a 4-question Qualtrics survey. Your responses to these questions will be anonymous. They are for the purpose of improving student learning in the general education program. Thank you for taking the time to view this presentation and for your interest in the general education program. If you have any questions, feel free to contact John Zarecki, the General Education Council Chair, or Jody Petazzoni, the Director of Assessment and Accreditation, or myself, Terry Brumfield, Assessment Specialist with the Office of Assessment and Accreditation. Again, thank you.